E aí, meu querido? E aí, minha querida? Tudo bem com vocês? Vamos começar mais um episódio do podcast Exchange Pass, que, como sempre, é focado na sua transformação. Para você que já nos conhece, deixa o dedo no like, porque você sabe que esse episódio vai ser bom. Se é a sua primeira vez aqui, seja muito bem-vindo, muito bem-vinda. Aqui nós trazemos pessoas que vão ajudar você a destravar o seu inglês. Já trouxe psicólogos, ex-alunos e pessoas de diversas áreas diferentes, para que você sempre saia daqui com a mente ampliada. E hoje eu recebi uma pessoa muito especial para mim, porque com o inglês eu aprendi a fazer conexões genuínas com as pessoas. E ele não é brasileiro, vamos falar em inglês, porque ele fala espanhol, eu falo português, e sinceramente, a comunicação em português ou em espanhol não ia dar certo. Logo vamos recorrer ao idioma mundial, que é o inglês, e o mais importante. Julian, meu querido, por gentileza, coloque antes de eu apresentar o meu querido amigo, os países que eu já recebi pessoas. Aliás, meus queridos, aceita indicação. Conhece alguém de algum país que não esteve aqui no podcast? Traga essa pessoa pra cá. Aqui está, já recebi gente da Austrália, Uganda, Nigéria, Suíça, Inglaterra, Estados Unidos, do Brasil, obviamente. Além disso, também trouxe pessoas da Venezuela, Peru, uma moça de Cuba esteve aqui com a gente e hoje eu estou com my friend Juan Castro, right? From Colômbia. How are you doing, man?
Very good, Giovanni. Thanks for inviting me. We met, like a month ago, I think, here in Sao Paulo, and then now we're here again.
Yeah.
Chatting, so.
First of all, I want to ask you one thing. How did you start learning English and why did you start learning English? Because some of my students and some Brazilians, they start learning, but they do not have a focus, like they do not have a goal. So tell me your experience, your pathway.
Sure. So yeah, just to put a little in the background. So when I'm not coming from, I'm coming from middle class, family, so then access to languages was not so easy, like studying in a bilingual school and so on. So I think my very first steps were with the music.
Music.
So, I don't know if you guys remember, when I was a child, I was able to pick like 2 presents per year mostly. So one was Christmas and your birthday. And then I used to, to pick a CD, right? Back in the days, not vinyls, but a CD. Then you need to be wise with which decisions you were making, because this is where you're going to probably listen the next 9 months or 10 months or a year, right? And then depends of the CD that you get, you will be able to exchange, with your friends' music.
Got it.
And then I remember, that the CDs at that time come with the lyrics in a little book, yeah? So then you understood what you were, what you were listening. So I think that was my first approach.
Which year was it?
The 90s. Probably some 37 years old, so it was, I don't know, 90s.
The internet at that time was not that good.
Yeah? Later it came internet. And then later you were able to download music, right? And then to download the lyrics. But the very first, access to lyrics were the books of the CDs, right? And this was, the first things that I was, reading. Like, I remember one of my first CDs was Backstreet Boys. I have to confess it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, no problem. Guilty pleasure?
No. I think it was one of the first ones. And then, it's like, quit playing games with my heart. So, say, play game. This is different in Spanish because it's, I don't know if it's jugar. Jugar is the same, or jugar, yeah? Yeah, we have the same word for, and it was like the first time that I have like 2 words or 2, different words for one word that I have in Spanish. So, anyways, that was, back to the question, yeah? This was maybe the first approach, the music. Right, that right. Allowed me to access.
Out of this band, which kind of music do you used to listen to? Because I remember when I was studying English, I studied with Johnny Cash.
All right.
Because I have a strong voice, as
like
him.
Johnny Cash, voice.
Yes, and he speaks slowly, so easy to understand. But on the other hand, I have studied with Beyoncé. Katy Perry, and many others that I do not listen to like day by day, but I listen to practice my English, my understanding. So did you experience any of these other songs gender?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, the first things, I don't know how it's in Brazil, but at least in Colombia. So we're always looking north to the US, right? This is where we're getting mostly of, I don't know, the English, the music and so on. So when you listen different accent or, a different expression, different words for the same things, like, I don't know, the UK, Australia, India, you might get, confused. And I was like questioning myself, I don't know English, right? I did an exam to study abroad, which is the IELTS test. And, the speaking part was with a guy from Scotland. And, this after this test, I say, I don't know English, man. So I couldn't understand him. Well, I mean, was English, but I think, the Great Britain English came very late to Colombia, at least, We focus more on the American. And then later, if you maybe meet people or travel, then, you got this. But I think, the ear and we humans, that could train ourselves, by listening to, other authors, or some Australian authors or South African authors, which is very beautiful as well, music-wise. Then you start
Didn't know that.
Yeah, very, very beautiful. There is guys who were involved in the apartheid movement, like Johnny Clegg or Hugh Masekele. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but, this is a different word, different English, telling a story about also the country. So... yeah, now with the internet is easier.
Yeah, awesome, man. And tell me one thing. How many years did you spend studying English until you felt yourself confident to speak, to speak up, to speak out?
Sure. I think they didn't come with the study itself. I think I have some basis at school, right? But my first immersion was this work and travel experience where you go and work in the US for a period of maybe 3 months while you're having a break in the university. And I work in a restaurant, in an Italian restaurant, first like cleaning the dishes, then later I was upgraded to the grilling station, then later salad station. And it was, I was kind of obliged to talk. I was in the north of the US, so not Miami, but Buffalo. So not too many people speak Spanish. And then, I was like forced to.
One thing, which state were you in?
It's New York State and Buffalo. It's the city north with in the border with Canada, where the Niagara Falls are. And then I was living in a very small town called Batavia.
Oh, got it. So you didn't find many people speaking Spanish, right? Like Miami or Orlando, for example, Portuguese, Spanish. So it was a real immersion.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a thing that I always advise my students. They want to go where everybody is going to. So you're gonna meet a lot of Brazilians. And the point is, if you focus on your English, that's awesome, no problem, because I've been to Liverpool. And there are many Brazilians over there. But I didn't speak to any Brazilian in Portuguese.
All right. Okay.
I didn't hang out with Brazilians there. Only with natives, or most of the times by myself. I talked to homeless, to people at Starbucks, on the street. Many people do not experience this kind of thing.
No, and this is also what you learn how, what you learn the colloquial English, right? Because this is what I didn't learn in school, I remember that this very basic, like, hi, how are you, fine, and you. And then when I was in the US, no one replied, fine, and you, how are you, good? Like, they probably with different, I don't know, slang, And then again, it's like, okay, I have this fine and you, that is real, no? But you get an experience with something that will people talk,
When I'm teaching my students, what I normally say, people, you have to learn the formal English, but then you have to switch to informal English. When I was in England, I remember I used to talk to my host mother every single day. And she used to ask me, had a good day? And then I write to my students, did you have a good day? This is the right grammar.
Right.
But she used to say, had a good day? That's the way you have to interact with people abroad. Give me a sec. Pessoal, a gente tá falando aqui sobre como é ruim aprender inglês da escolinha tradicional. Aquele, how are you? Fine. And you? Ele disse, ninguém responde fine and you. E eu ensino isso no meu curso. Eles respondem good, great, very well, alright. Ou eles não respondem, eles respondem com uma outra pergunta, ao invés de responder good or great. Então, quando alguém pergunta, how are you? How's it going? Muitas vezes essa é a interação entre nativos. Então, se você não aprende o inglês como ele realmente tem que ser falado, você está muitos passos atrás. Então, procure sempre algum lugar que vai te trazer essa confiança do inglês do dia a dia. E não somente aquele livrinho que você já lembra. Page 4. Listening Activity. Não. Isso não vai ajudar você a chegar onde você quer chegar. Alright, backing up. And after the US, which country have you been to?
Yeah, so my first country was US, and then I started working in a consulting company in Mexico. Then I've been living in some countries in Latin America, which is kind of the same or similar, to my culture, language-wise, like behavior-wise, and that was like for 5 years, and in Costa Rica, in Ecuador, in Mexico, some others. And then later I moved to Germany, and this was also another complete, change, because it was, again, a different language. I did not learn the language before, nothing. I was doing a study program in English. So also I've started to listen to other English from different parts of the world. And I remember that one of the teachers at school says that, he asked, what is the most spoken language in the world, right? And then some people say, okay, it might be Chinese or Cantonese, right, by the amount of people that live in China. But he say, no, it's bad English. Is what is most spoken all around the world, yeah?
Yeah.
So, and at the end, it's a matter of communication, to deliver the message. And then later, you start learning some expressions. I still do have a lot of doubts, and I don't know where to use the have, had, has. I'm still having those rookie mistakes. But on the other hand, you just learn some expressions in daily English with people.
Native speakers make some mistakes.
Even,
That's
true.
what students sometimes they don't get it. They don't realize it. So many of them, they say, if I was you, instead of if I were you.
True.
And we are able to understand. I mean, last week, I had a talk with a Chinese businessman. I thought it was a Chinese businessman and an automation company. I wore my suit, beautifully, and he was a 25 years old guy. Oh, all right, because it's a technology company, so they have a lot of young people there. So we were talking about business. I presented the company because I was with the owner of the company, his partner, and this Chinese guy. So I presented the whole company. We sat down to discuss about business and technical terms. I didn't know all of them because it's not my area, but I used to ask him if I had understood it good, only to confirm it, and everything was all right. 3 hours of conversation. And then I asked him, how was like the experience of being in Brazil? And he said, oh, last week I go. Wait, last week I went. No problem. I was able to understand.
Sure.
Because that's the important thing. He got a job in a company that works with technology. He travels all around the world talking to other businessmen, making this silly mistake. Silly. So you don't have to care about it.
Sure.
It's normal.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. And this reminds me also when my very first steps in the German language, I was a little afraid to make mistakes, right? And I think maybe at some point maybe we all are. But when you break this thing of you don't care if you do mistakes. Yeah, the matter is like the communication. People also appreciate a lot that you're doing the effort to talk in another language. Yeah, because they know. Also, Germans know that their language is very hard. So if you're already, making the effort, I don't know. I think people focus way less on the mistakes of what you think they do, right? And at the end, it's this: just deliver the message. When you feel, you lose this fear, things might come, a little more organic or easy. Yeah.
Yeah, give me a sec again.
Sure.
Câmera central, Julian. Pessoal, outra coisa que trava muito vocês é medo de errar. Eu, sinceramente, sinto como se fosse um juiz num tribunal. Porque vocês chegam em mim na aula, professor, aqui, olha, eu tentei, tá, eu fiz aqui o que deu, eu não sabia pronunciar essa palavra e... Calma, eu não sou um juiz, eu tô aqui pra ajudar você a alcançar o nível de inglês que você precisa. Então, quando você chega na aula com a guarda baixa, você está mais propenso a aprender. Então, lembre-se de não ter medo de errar. O ambiente da aula tem que ser esse ambiente. Se o seu professor ou se o seu curso não dá essa liberdade para você, talvez você esteja no lugar errado. Talvez não, certeza que você está no lugar errado. Então, meu amigo Juan falou que quando ele perdeu esse medo de ficar toda hora, eu cometo alguns erros, ele realmente conseguiu aprender inglês. Então, é isso que no final importa. Alright, backing up again. How many months did you spend in Germany?
I've been living there for 9 years.
9 years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
My goodness, that's
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. So but also by documents, I'm having 2 nationalities. So if you want to scratch Germany, you have now another one. Yeah.
Awesome.
But I'm still 100% Colombian though.
100% Colombia.
Yeah, but okay, 100%. But you also acquire some things of the place you live. Yeah.
Yeah,
In a
because
way. Yeah.
you didn't lose your Latin spirit. Because when we met at Julinho's bar,
Yeah.
I met you were happy dancing, and there was the Canadian guy.
Yeah.
He was a little bit shy, and he didn't interact with me the way you did, the way I did with you. So it's
Sure.
normal for us. And I don't think it's normal in Germany, is it?
No, this kind of relationships takes longer. So and what they do, like friendship is something very strong there, but you need some time. Also in Switzerland, people say that you need like 5 years to become friends. I don't know if you can count it on this way, but that means that it would take a little longer, to get to know the people. Now, the past months I've been traveling here in Latin America, and I have this feeling of this brother or sisterhood of belonging to Latin America. Yeah, and this is only you experience this when you interact with other Latin Americans, even in your country or in others, and it feels it's a feeling that I'm from here, in a way.
Yeah.
This is something where I'm connected organically when I can be my best at, where I can interact with people the way I am, and even if we both talk in English, the humor and the conversation is something more Latino, yeah. And I don't know so much Brazil. I've been here like 10 years ago and now, and even though it's a kind of a different story on the independence process, maybe in a way the consolidation of the country, the language, but we all share the same. So it's Latin America for sure.
Yes.
A little different in some things, but you feel at home, and this is how also people what that make me feel like.
Yeah. Because I have a friend from Costa Rica. I met him in another bar here in São Paulo. We hang out like 3 times. Then I met a friend. He was from Venezuela. He went to my birthday party at my house.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
that's so weird.
It's not common with people out of Latin America. And one thing really important is the whole world ignore us. All of them. They ignores us. I was talking to this Chinese guy, and I said, "Did you like Brazil?" He said, "No." But nothing against Brazil. When you are in China and people say Latin America, we think dangerous. The only thing we think dangerous.
Yeah, and this is sadly a stigma that we carry, but I think it's because, my opinion, right, is depends who's telling you the news, right? So it depends who's telling the things. So if you depends the news or the things that you consume most likely has been coming from 2 main parts, which is like the press offices in New York or in London and Paris. And then depends of this, you have an interpretation of how things are there, but this is not the truth, yeah. And I don't know, for example, I was also a few months ago, or like 2 months ago, in Africa, and I found so many similarities in Latin America, like same like I don't know, problems. They have like independence processes 150 years later with I don't know, industrialized countries, and to all the European countries, we in Latin America, we mainly fought against two, Spain and Portugal. Yeah, but we know we shared a lot of things that were not being, said to us in the past, because I think sometimes we are having this view from at least Latin America and Africa from an European perspective. So who is telling us what's happening in Africa? Europe. So you imagine that Africa is a very poor place and so on. Man, when you walk in these streets in Nairobi and in other countries, right, in Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, it's similar to Latin American cities. How the city has been designed, structure. You have very nice places. Some others not so much, but you feel you're in Latin America. So it's not.
Have you been to Africa, right?
Yeah. So
okay.
very first time this year. Yeah, I was 2 months there.
Amazing. How many countries did you visit?
I was in 5 countries.
5 different countries?
Yeah.
Tell me all of them.
So I started in Kenya. This is what people sometimes suggest, like for first-timers in Africa, meaning that you can travel by yourself. People is very charming and welcoming. And you can have also the mix of the safaris, and you can have also the beach and some cities. So you have like all around if you would like to, see a few things from Africa. But Africa has 54 countries, it's huge. Then I was in Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Botswana, which is southern east part of Africa. The 3 of them were English, colonies. Same with Kenya. So you can move with English, right? And then South Africa. And then I crossed from South Africa to Sao Paulo, because I just realized that there's 2 flights that connect South Africa and Latin America, and both of them are coming to Sao Paulo. One is from Joburg, South Africans say, to Johannesburg, and from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and then is the direct plane to Guarulhos. And I wanted to Guarulhos airport.
Guarulhos, all right, yeah.
Portuguese.
Like, wait, I don't know this place
is not
in Brazil.
Brazil.
This is not Brazil.
No, yeah. Thanks, buddy. But yeah, so then and I wanted to do this plane, not by the way to do the plane, but to avoid going again up north to the hubs in Europe or in the Gulf. But to cross this, because I think this is also a big connection with Africa and South America, right? But this is where I finished. Going back to the question, so South Africa, beautiful and very interesting, but the whole Africa, it has a different I don't know, rhythm. And just to keep it very short, but I don't know, maybe I can describe well Colombia, I can describe well Germany, yeah. But with Africa, I still have issues to put it in words, because it's more of a feeling of, it's a vibration of an energy that is in this continent.
Oh, a different vibration.
Yeah.
Man, I have to go there.
Sure. And I don't know if it's because as a human race, because there is not such this fairy tale of the races, like we are human race, It's not different like white, black race. No. And the proof is there, because then like 3 big very old skeletons that they were found. One is in Ethiopia. It's called Lucy. That has 3.8 million years. So this tells you that the skeleton is the same skeleton that we have. So there is not such a race,
Man, amazing. I love people. I know that sometimes it's tough when we have to deal with people. We have different cultures, religions, ideologies. All right. But I respect every human being. I don't care about what you think. I care about who you are. That's my point. And I think you think the same, right? And when you get it, you will stop looking at people putting too much judgment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you are opened up to explore it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and to listen different ways to do the things, and to remove also a lot of stigmas that you have been hearing, or that you have, been taught. Yeah. So I don't know. They say, okay, yeah, Africa is very dangerous. Take good care. South Africa is could be dangerous, but with some cares in Latin American cities, I think we grew up with this you look backwards always. You don't walk with a big camera here. You're more cautious. You're more
Yeah.
aware of your environment around, and then you take some cares.
Yeah, it's normal for us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like, come on. But, in some other places I found, I was crossing, so Zambia and Zimbabwe, they are divided by a river, which is called the Zambezi River, and then you have the Victoria Falls, which is also a name like made by colonialism, because the locals call it, I think, is the thunder mist, which is how did they call it in the local language. Now, you can cross the border, to the two countries, because at the end the waterfall is just one. I think is similar like here in Iguazu, you have like 3 countries, but like nature, we as humans create those borders, in our mind and in a map.
Yes.
But in
We do.
nature-wise, there's no border in anything, just one waterfall, which is very beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And when I was crossing from Zambia to Zimbabwe, I got like completely soaked, by the water, because it's very powerful. And then a guy saw me, I was walking wet, like, enjoying the walk and life. And this guy told me, hey, this looks, no, what was it? You look very happy. This looks like your home. Welcome home. This is your home now. Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. And then, he just was walk. He was maybe working.
Which
crossing from
country?
one in between Zambia and Zimbabwe. So it was the Zimbabwe side.
Oh.
Someone the Zimbabwe side.
Man, amazing. And in all these African countries, like, which language did you speak? English, only in English?
English there, they have a lot of different languages. I think dialects in Zambia, I think there's more than 70, but maybe it's like 7 or 6 like main languages. But because, they were colonies from the UK, so then most of the people speak also English. So you can move with English in those 3, but depends which was the country colonizing this. I met also a taxi driver from Ethiopia, and the guy spoke. They normally speak like the main language in the country, then their like dialect or the local language which they use with their family, and he also spoke Italian, French, and English. I said, wow, like how 3 languages? And he said, yeah, because we were colonized from Italy. We kicked them out. Then the French came, and then the English came. Like 3 different colonies came. So well, he learned the language, but tough, man.
Yeah, tough. Like they were kind of destroyed and robbed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, we cannot turn back time. At least we have to look ahead to face the real problems we have right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even here in Latin America as well, we have to do the same. But I really want to go to Africa after this talk, because you spoke about these countries with a care, with an emotion that got me. And my dad, he has a friend from Morocco.
All right.
He moved to Brazil, I think 2 years ago. He was not able to speak a word in Portuguese, only Arabic and French. And he was living close to my dad. They became friends, and now they are close friends. They are best friends. Like, if something happens to my dad right now, I know that I can call him to get there and help him, because I'm kind of far from home. He's gonna be there to help my dad, So different cultures. By the way, my dad is almost 70 years old. Like, from another age, but
from another country, another background, but at the end is
exactly
people being people. You know?
Because I could be opened up for new experience and new people, new like views, and maybe my dad like couldn't couldn't follow the same way, but he did.
Sure, and this is very interesting how you think. Like, it's very different background, different language, different culture, but you can create, and what you describe is a real connection, But someone will be taking care of you, And also, I've been finding this generosity in some Islamic countries, right? Which again, we have some ideas in the mind, what you have been taught, but the people is generous, open, good-hearted, And this is very beautiful. But what you just shared,
All
this
right.
friendship, And then people who is coming to Brazil and stay here for living. Yeah.
One thing that I'd like to ask, how many countries have you been to?
Yeah, I think I made some list at some point, and it's gonna be around 56. But
Wait, 56
56,
countries.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
But at the beginning, I did it more on a checklist, to complete some, and later, with time, it's more, quality against quantity. You would just want
Yeah.
to do it like a check. I was here and there just to tell the story.
But you did enjoy the city, the country, the
exactly.
culture.
And in my case now, it's I'm do traveling because I would like to expand the radio of the people that I can share with, more than collecting some countries. Now, traveling in South Africa, there's 2 countries inside South Africa: Lesotho and Eswatini, which was called before Lesotho and I forgot the name, but the current name is Eswatini, right? So then you can potentially just go cross there. You can rent a car and cross, and then spend some hours, maybe have a meal, and will be a check of a new country.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do it on this way to collect. Okay, I could say like 58 now, but yeah, maybe one day we'll go, but with more time. Maybe stay there longer.
How many days you gonna stay here?
I'm leaving this
holiday.
Saturday.
Oh,
so
you're leaving
this
this
is gonna
Saturday.
be the end of
To Germany?
to Germany.
Oh.
Yes, I'm flying back to Germany, going back to
But
work. To
Will you be
reality.
back, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
perfect.
yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah.
because
Mhm.
today was a tough day with a lot of news,
Mhm.
and I'll have to finish our podcast in a few minutes,
Mhm.
but I'd love to have you here again, and I'll have this opportunity because you're gonna come back to Brazil, because you've been to 56 countries.
Mhm.
As you said before, well, many of them I didn't experience the whole culture and potential that the country had,
Mhm.
but some others you did. And I
Mhm.
want to know more about it. And I'm quite sure my students want to learn more about it,
Sure.
because sometimes we think about going to a different country, but we think like, I'm a Latin America, so I do not earn much money. I have to choose carefully to don't regret.
Mhm.
So listening to you and being in touch with your experience can help me and help my students to make a better decision.
Absolutely. And there is a lot of options there. I always thought that traveling was just for elites, to people who has the access to money, and but it's not the case. I was coming from middle class family, no access to travel to study abroad, but there is a lot of options. You just need to go and do it and find them and find the sponsorships and ask for people. The most influential people that came to my life because I came to them first. Yeah. So then, of course, we'll be happy to share, and the advice is just doing it, and it's not a barrier. I have a cousin which says like, don't close the door yourself, like let the others close the door for you, but don't close the door yourself. So sometimes I didn't like this advice, but it's true, like
Yeah.
just trying it, trying doing the things.
To finish our conversation, I want you to look there to your camera and give a final message to the ones who want to learn English. And if you want, send a message to anyone you want. Be free.
Sure. Well, first, Mom, I'm rocking it. It's the first time that I'm in a podcast. But no, like send a message to my lovely family. I'm gonna be seeing them soon. When I'm going back now to Europe. I have 2 sisters living there. But yeah, the advice is just to do the things. We care so much about. I don't know, like it will be the right time. It will be, everything is expensive. Yeah, the investment of money. I think no one has like spare money, but just to try and doing it. Yeah, and then along the way, Mexican says that, while you are going along the way, the things just fall into the right piece. So just you will find the path. The first harder part is just maybe to start. Yeah, but if you have to start, if you just do the first step. This is the 80%. Like, I don't know, download some, lyrics. Start, practicing with a lot of people that are traveling here to Brazil, by just being curious, Go to these hostels where people got together. Like, this is how I've also, started to practice my English. So just doing it will be in a nutshell, the advice.
Oh,
And thank you for having me here,
Oh,
Giovanni.
thank you
Thanks a lot.
to be available to come to my podcast. It was awesome, amazing. And I knew our conversation would be awesome when I met you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Pra você que está aí nos assistindo, entendeu o que a gente falou? Se não entendeu, Exchange Pass é o curso correto para você. Ele estará aqui no link da descrição. Porque falar inglês é falar com o mundo. É por isso que o meu logo não é igual às outras escolas de inglês, vermelho, branco e azul. Ele traz as cores do mundo, porque o inglês conecta pessoas de todas as nacionalidades. Já chamei aqui pessoas de mais de 8 países diferentes para falar inglês comigo, sentado aqui ao vivo, sem edição, para vocês sentirem essa questão, essa emoção de realmente estar se comunicando, gerar conexão com as pessoas. Porque se eu não tivesse gerado conexão com o meu amigo Juan, ele não estaria aqui hoje. E talvez sem a minha comunicação assertiva, ou seja, comunicação clara, eu não estaria aqui falando com vocês. Então pensem em todo o potencial que vocês podem perder por não dar um passo tão importante como o aprendizado do inglês. Com essa mensagem, eu me despeço de vocês hoje. Muito obrigado por esse episódio. Juan vai voltar aqui porque ele visitou 56 países e nós precisamos falar com ele sobre essa experiência, principalmente porque às vezes temos dúvida de qual país ir. Então, essa dúvida vai acabar em breve. Logo, já se inscreva no canal, deixa um like, compartilha esse episódio com quem vai aprender inglês com você. Um forte abraço. Tchau.